Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Let's Talk About It, Steph. I have guests on here tonight, and we're gonna get into some good talk tonight. We got Denton County, a special guest. We'll bring him on up. So I'm gonna bring our co-host on, Del Frey. Yay! Where is he?
Hey, how you doing? It's good to see you again, Stephanie. It's your internet connection's a little bit shaky, but we can understand what you're saying. But yeah, it's good to be here. It's good to be here during early voting. A reminder to everyone throughout all Texas, we're in the middle of early voting right now, and I think Stephanie might be locking up a little bit. So I'm just going to go ahead and try to pull on our other candidates onto here as well. We have a congressional candidate and we have a county candidate. Uh, Ernest, do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us what you're running for and about your campaign.
Great, thank you. Yeah, thanks, Dale and Stephanie. Great to be here. I am Ernest Lineberger, and I am the Democratic candidate for a seat in the U.S. House, and that's for Texas Congressional District 26. And I've been out poll greeting for seems like weeks now, but I go out there as often as the polls are and uh, join people and see if I can be helpful to them. But I'm a retired naval officer specialized in nuclear power, served tours on multiple warships, including the aircraft carrier USS Nimitz. And those were years of service that I was excited to be able to do. After retirement, I was hired by Texas Instruments, and I worked the next 30 years there, uh, manufacturing semiconductors and keeping high paying jobs in that critical industry here in America. And now I'm retired and I am running for office is my main thing. Long ago, I was the youngest in a family where my dad was a Navy chaplain, and we moved a lot, interacted with a lot of different people, lived in different places. And listening to my father's sermons, my faith developed to be love your neighbor, and we're all neighbors. I'm really excited to see the big change in turnout this year at the elections, because it looks like I might have a good chance to get into office and to do some of the many things that we need to do. Pretty excited about making life better for people in our community. Healthcare needs to be improved. Uh, there's costs at every level we need to help manage so that the working class maybe will have some actual flexible income. And that way, small businesses would have far more customers and succeed much better. We'd have a much better situation all around. But we got to get past the election first, and early voting is going on. We've got a great turnout, and I'm excited to see it. I know if people ask me what my number one priority is, probably the Voting Rights Act and trying to get money out of politics, or the influence of big money anyway out of politics, because there's so much that influences. You want me to keep going, or you want to jump back?
Well, I was going to say, tell us where we can find more information about you. Tell us your website.
Okay, so yes, my website is linebergerforuscongress.com, and there's definitely information there. I've written a book. It's called There I Was, Life Stories from Ernest Lineberger, and that's available at amazon.com. That's not really a campaign book, but it does explain a lot about my history and philosophy. And the website is definitely a campaign website, linebergerforuscongress.com.
Awesome. We also have Nick Papas, and then we'll jump over to Kansas. So Nick Papas, tell us what you're running for and all about your campaign, sir.
Thank you, Dale, and thank y'all for having me. My name's Nick Pappas. I am currently campaigning to become Denton County Judge. I was a United States Marine, active duty, enlisted for 17 years. And now that I'm done serving my country, I'm here to serve Denton County.
All right, short and sweet. And I think it's the first time we've had her on the podcast. Kansas Valenzuela, good to see you here. We're so glad you can make it. Please tell us about what you're running for and about your campaign.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me here today, Dale. My name's Candace Valenzuela. I am running for Denton County Commissioner Precinct 2. I come to this from a lot of different positions and a lot of different hats. I'm a mother of two young sons. I'm a former educator. I was the first Black woman and first Latina to serve as school board trustee in the Carrollton Farmers Branch School Board. I also served the Biden-Harris administration for 3 years as HUD Southwest Regional Administrator, overseeing for the Secretary Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, and New Mexico. And the reason I want to be at the county is that I worked with people at all levels of government, city council folks, people at the county level, and in Louisiana, it was parishes, of course, state folks and federal folks. And what I learned was if senators do their job and members of Congress do their job, occasionally that happens. Money is appropriated to the state, money is appropriated to our localities, and it's really, really important that the people who receive that money prioritize the people that they are trying to serve. And for Denton County, that's thinking a lot about mental health care and access to health care overall. That's thinking carefully about access to housing affordability. That's thinking a lot about how our infrastructure supports us in some of our areas, like around the 380. Even though that is a U.S. highway, how does the county plan around that so that there isn't so much congestion? And shockingly, right now, we're also looking at immigration as being a part of county government as our localities are entering 287G agreements. Ours just entered into one last month, effectively integrating ICE into our sheriff's department. And so how that enforcement looks, how that contract looks, depends on what we do in the county. So it's really, really critical for me in this office to make sure that we're serving the community first and foremost.
Awesome. And Stephanie, I want to be clear to the audience that both Kansas and Stephanie, they're both running to be county commissioners, but they're not primarying each other. Kansas Venezuela is southeast portion of Denton County, and Stephanie, your district's weird, but I think it's mainly southwest. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your district, Steph?
Sure. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Stephanie Draper. Of course, yes, I am. Let's talk about stuff. But guess what? I am also running for Denton County Commissioner. Not against my friend over here, Candace. We're going to be working hard to make sure we take care of the people. Now, people are asking, where is Precinct 4? Has a little bit of Denton, Chrome, Ponder, Justin, Trophy Club, a little of South Lake, West Lake. We have a nice little part of Haslett as well, too. So we have a big group of folks. Flower Mound is involved in it. They're going to get me if they hear that I didn't mention Flower Mound and Bartonville. So it's spread out there. Of course, we got the west north part of Denton County, and I'm excited to be running because Denton County is growing, and we got to have people that's going to listen and be very transparent of what's going on. Like my partner over here said, that 287G was approved last month, and that's something that we have to definitely make sure that we work to help people and not harm them. And we need to be very transparent on what we do with our folks and also about the budget. Out here in Denton County, if you open up your mail, you see that your property taxes have gone up and you're about ready to have a fit. Or, I know I was when my husband opened up that property tax. I panicked because I'm like, oh Lord, how much is it going to go up? And if mine is going up, everybody else is too. So we definitely need to have better budget, and we got to lower the cost of the property taxes. is definitely growing. We have over 1 million people that's in Denton County and structure together. And
Yeah.
of course, let me make sure I say the last of the early voting. So please to go vote. If you have not went to go early vote, please make sure you go early vote. All right. No.
Okay.
He is running for Denton
Yeah.
County clerk.
Oh yes, I'm also running for the Denton County Clerk, the Clerk of the Commissioners Court, and also the Clerk of the County. But I don't have a primary, and we have a lot of candidates here, so I definitely want to go into the topics. The first one being voting. I just voted today, and I'm curious what everyone else's experience was with voting. I'm seeing lots and lots of, I guess, perhaps anxiety, I think, from the Republican side of the aisle, because I have never seen this many yard signs out there, especially during a primary. I don't know about y'all's experience, but over here in HD 106, there are big, massive signs talking to not vote for Jared Patterson. We can tell that the PAC that's funding this is Tim Dunn and Ferris Wilks. And there are several of these signs all over the place, large ones too. And I tell you, I know that the cost of these signs can easily jump over $50 for like the larger ones. So I'm seeing a lot of money being poured into these elections, and I think it's because Republicans are scared. But what are y'all's experience so far seeing in this primary? Because this primary feels different from the previous primaries I've seen in the past.
Well, I'll go because I've been poll greeting. I poll greeted all through 2024 elections with the primary and the municipals and the November elections, and this one is very, very different. I go out there, I set up my tent, I set up my table and chairs and my signs and my information, and I talk to people. And in 2024, it was maybe 70-30 to 60-40 people that would stop at the Republican tent. And they had like a great big party going on over there with people being part of the club and everything. And now there are people coming voting Republican. There's no doubt. There's a lot of them, but they aren't really stopping by the tent. They aren't making a big party of it. They're just pretty much being quiet about it. And our people are coming through and they're talking to us and they're saying they've done their research or they're asking for a little extra information or something. But I've looked at the numbers on how many people are coming out, and I'm told that the Democrats are running about 230% what they've done in prior primaries as far as numbers. And as far as anxiety, people are like, we just really, really need a change. We just really need to do something, and people need to come out and vote. And I've had Republicans talk to me. I mean, not all of them, but some of them saying that, yes, I voted for Trump, but I'm not anymore. This has got to stop what's going on. So I'm pretty enthusiastic, and I see a big opportunity for change. Now, this is just the primaries, and it's a smaller scale and whatnot, but it has been going on for over a week now. Tuesday of last week was the first day, and we went all the way straight through the weekend, and this is Wednesday. So there's 2 more days, Thursday and Friday, of early voting, and then the election on Tuesday. But I'm excited about it, and I see a big change overall in the general attitude.
Yeah, absolutely. Didn't realize my microphone was muted.
And I'm excited that I got to vote for 3 of the 4 panelists that are sitting here. Sorry, Stephanie, you're not on my ballot.
So, Nick in Kansas, how about you guys? How are you feeling about these elections? What are you noticing that's different?
Well, I've been doing election work for the better part of 10 years. I didn't do it as actively while I was in the Biden administration. I did make it out to some block walks while I was off from work because we actually cared about the Hatch Act. Anyway, so what I will say is that Democrats are in a steep learning curve right now, I think, in this state because we are not used to this level of choice. Now, for me personally, in 2020, I was in a 6-way primary. Then I was a part of the longest runoff in Texas's history because Abbott extended it with COVID happening. So for me, a contentious primary is absolutely nothing new. Watching people trying to figure out how to conduct themselves is nothing new. But, and particularly looking at races just locally for me, watching a really contentious, but also really, really exciting justice of the peace race in my area, watching folks at higher levels on the ballot really, really having competitive races. It's just something that's very, very new to us, and learning how to conduct ourselves and also how to have these real conversations, because they are critical to have. We've never gotten the chance to have these real conversations, is really, really exciting. I think it's absolutely electrifying that we have the opportunity to do this. And I think that it's also just an opportunity for us to grow into ourselves. What does a fully realized Democratic Party that we haven't seen in the better part of like 2.5 decades look like for us now? What does an inclusive party really mean? We're grappling with all of that while fighting fascism, fighting a lot of really, really terrible things. But the fact that we are capable of having these conversations is really, really wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. How about you, Nick?
Oh yeah, I want to mirror Candace's excitement on this. This is absolutely amazing. So, one of the things that I've been able to explain to people is don't compare between Democrats and Republicans.
Oh,
Don't compare
by the way, Nick, I think you were coming in very clear, and then it sounds like you're underwater.
Did that fix it?
Yes, that did. There you go.
Okay. It's because I kept tapping it. Sorry. So I wanted to mirror Candace's excitement. We are getting amazing turnout. One thing that I keep explaining to people is do not compare Democrat to Republican turnout now, and do not compare Democrat turnout now to election cycle. This is not the presidential election. This is the primaries. And so, just comparing the Democrat turnout now, the primaries, to the primaries last time in 2022, Denton County alone is already over 220%. That's just with yesterday's numbers too, not including today's numbers, not including the rest of the week. So, and that's compared to the final numbers for the actual primaries of 2022. So we're getting massive, incredible turnout. We're absolutely turning out the vote. We're motivating voters. And I've also been paying attention to a lot of the people that are analyzing the votes, because a lot of people were concerned, like, oh, maybe it's just a lot of Republicans that are coming over. They've actually analyzed the votes through Van Access and their other systems, and there is less than 6% of Democrats going to Republican or Republican going to Democrat. So it's completely negligible. So we're actually seeing impressive numbers. Everybody's efforts to get out the vote, to register voters, to encourage voters, it's working. And that it's so exciting. And the fact that we have all of these seats ready for somebody to actually vote somebody in on is incredible. We don't have very empty ballots. We don't have like 9 people going for one seat and then nobody going for 20 seats. And so we are absolutely crushing our civic duties right now. And yeah, a big thank you to the candidates for getting their names out there, for the ones that are conducting themselves appropriately. I mean, I've been encouraging them left and right. A lot of people are getting really nervous now that we're cutting it close, but everybody has made an incredible race and done a lot to get their ideals out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Stephanie, I think for another topic that we may want to talk about, because it covers a lot of us, is ICE, in the problematic issues that we have both in our county and abroad. I bring up ICE because it was mentioned earlier that there's a contract called 287G. It was first implemented in Denton County in February, a while ago, but it was very recently upgraded to the point where our county made headlines because it was said that Denton County was the first county in all of Texas to go this far with the 287G support, the support of the contract between local law enforcement and ICE officials. Um, this is very problematic, and I just wanted to ask everyone's stance on ICE and to clarify, because I tell you one thing that was interesting in watching the debate between James Tellerico and Jasmine Crockett, is they were asked whether or not that we should abolish ICE. And I saw both candidates kind of try to pivot away from answering that question directly, probably because they didn't want to give Fox News that little clip of them talking about abolishing ICE. We definitely don't need another one of those Beto O'Rourke quotes where we're going to take your guns away, with a prefixing that with a hell yeah. I mean, when Beto did that, Fox News just played that on repeat. So I don't really know. What do you guys think? Is it couth to say like we definitely need to abolish ICE, or do we think that maybe we need to be careful with our rhetoric there? How do you?
I don't think it's, I mean, let me say two things. We have very specific lanes here. And I think that it's really critical for us to stay in those lanes. So we go into federal issues here because we are talking about an interlocal agreement with an agency. We have no control over how federal oversight works. We have no control over the fact that it's the best funded policing agency in the world right now. So I think that we have to really look at what is available to our jurisdictions, right? So the Senate race is a Senate race. Ernest has a very specific lane here when it comes to what Immigration and Customs Enforcement does. But for us, it's really talking about the implications of what happens within our county and what we should be doing. Now, I think that in general, we should have our law enforcement agents cooperate. I think over siloing can actually be a security risk in a lot of different ways. But the way in which some of these agreements are structured, you've got Denton County, which is a county with a county's tax base, on the hook for financially supporting ICE operations in the county. So I know I watched the video. I watched Sheriff Murphy talk about the fact, the federal government is going to cover it. It's going to cover it. It's going to cover it. I read the memorandum of agreement. Every other line was saying that Denton County was going to cover it. So we have to have those really substantive conversations about what it looks like at this level and let them handle whatever it is that they need to handle in terms of the broader philosophical questions of ICE. We just know within our communities, we have a necessity for safety and security. We have a necessity for well-funded law enforcement. And when we have mission creep, what happens to all of the other really important law enforcement activities that we have? I didn't assume that our sheriff's department or that our police were sitting around doing nothing before this, right? I know that they're already overworked. I actually don't think that they get paid enough for the work that they do already. And then to heap on more responsibilities and for us to pay for that overtime, for us to pay for additional jail time, for us to pay for getting our folks to and from training, I think it's a ridiculous ask of taxpayers, and I think it's a ridiculous ask of law enforcement.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're very correct to we have different roles here, because I wanted to bring it up too and try to keep it as a broad question, because I know that we do have someone who's running for Congress here. Ernest would probably be able to do more about the ICE agency at the federal level. And for us, we have our own local ICE issues, as mentioned with the 287G. And also, as mentioned with our jails. I this one issue with our jail is the case of Heath Aaron Vandeventer, 27-year-old, was having a mental health crisis. He was put into our Denton County Jail and died a couple months later. And the cause of death was ruled to be dehydration. Like literally, a 27-year-old died of dehydration, and now his grandmother is suing the county. And how is that possible? Well, it's because our jails are almost nearly full and they're not very well staffed. And that's kind of why I worry about the ICE integration. If ICE can willy-nilly just grab anyone who just even simply is protesting peacefully, they throw them into our jails. Well, as we've seen in the case of Heath Aaron Vandeventer, that could be a death sentence. So, but again, I'll just keep the question broadly about ICE. Do the rest of y'all want to talk about your campaign and how you want to handle ICE with your campaign?
Well, I think, like you mentioned,
before you go and do anything.
Go ahead, Ernest.
So like you mentioned, we have to be careful with the rhetoric. We have to be careful with the rhetoric. Abolish ICE sounds great, melt ICE, whatever, but it'll be turned against us. We need ICE has an important job to do, and it's been done for years, basically low key, behind the scenes, doing the high priority work like they said they were going to do, where they go and identify uh, immigrants that have specific criminal background of some sort, and doing the work. But for ICE to be on the street of our cities and going into public places, schools, churches, shopping areas, whatever, just, not after one person that they need to arrest, but who can we find that looks like somebody we should detain? That all just needs to stop. And Congress can do something with the funding, but not simply, and not with us in the minority, because the One Big Beautiful Bill just gave something to the order of $49 billion, or 49 billion more dollars to ICE. Like was mentioned, they are the most highly funded policing organization that there is, and they're building a lot of detention centers, and they're all substandard. They don't allow inspections like they're required to. There's a lot of things that, with a Democratic majority, we can insist on real oversight and do some things to make the system more community friendly. Like I said, there's a job that needs done, but it's not the job they're doing. We need to, I've said in a small video earlier that, like, when you're like, I'm a retired naval officer, and Nick was in the Marines, and when you are in a battle situation, you keep your weapon at the ready. You are ready to do what's necessary right away. But when you're in a policing situation, your weapon belongs in the holster. You don't stand in front of a car and draw your weapon. I mean, what are you, Dirty Harry, saying, "Make my day"? I mean, that is nonsense. You're here to police and keep us safe. And you're not here to just find target practice wherever you can. And I'm just embarrassed at the lack of professionalism. When I was in the Navy, anytime we have any kind of accident or any kind of little incident that something went a little bit wrong, typically you have a stand down. Okay, hold on. We're not going to do that for the next, 12 or 24 hours. We're going to have a lot of meetings and talk through what just happened, make sure we fully understand it, and make sure we have procedures out that it's not going to happen again. And that is not happening with the kindergarten cops that are in charge right now. Kristi Noem and the organization all the way down, they are not being professional about what they're doing. And that needs to stop, and Congress can play a role if we can reinstall a Democratic majority.
Absolutely. And Nick, how about the county level? Tell us your feelings about the sheriff and what he's been up to when it comes to this 287G stuff.
Way to set me up for failure on that one. No, so very specifically, when we're talking about the 287G agreement, I believe that the Denton County Commissioners Court should not have held a vote on that. It was very performative. It was very, hey, we'll give you carte blanche over the entire county and our sheriff's department. I believe that as soon as I'm elected to Denton County Judge, I want to revisit that vote. I want to have everybody explain why they would vote yes or no, especially considering when we're talking about ICE, when we're talking about their activities. There was a very well documented case about a couple of ICE agents going into a Mexican restaurant, enjoying a nice meal, and then detaining the entire staff and checking their citizenship. Wildly inappropriate, wildly disgusting, and I don't want that in Denton County. I don't want them to have the ability to do that in Denton County. The only thing that the sheriff's departments are absolutely required to do as far as the 287G agreements are to be able to allow any immigration enforcement agency to issue warrants or have warrants issued in jails. That's it. That's the only one that they have to do. The other ones are based on what they want to do, to what they can do. I don't believe that the Denton County Sheriff's Department or any of the police departments in Denton County have the personnel or just the manpower in general to be able to support ICE operations. I don't believe that with the energy requirements that are coming out now from our new data centers and cryptocurrency centers that all of these cities are signing on to, that we would even have the infrastructure to support any ICE operations.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a thing. It's becoming problematic, but hopefully, if we can flip some seats, we can change some policies because it's definitely needed. And also, Stephanie, if you can hear me, to answer your question, we were able to hear you. You just seemed like you were coming in and out for a little bit. Sorry for that. I was kind of getting distracted by some technical difficulties. Um, yeah, Steph, we can hear you. Did you want to share your thoughts and feelings on ICE and as someone who's running to be a member of the Commissioner's Court? Yeah.
Before I'm going to acknowledge Eugene got on here. We had some comments up here.
Oh, cool.
It's
What
a
were the comments?
learning curve, but I know my vote matters, and he went to go Sunday. So thank you, Eugene, for going out to go vote. And we have Ann, and she says she has 5 of her favorite people on here. So thank you. And she also said we need to get rid of 287G. So no, my comment is on that is, have you met any of the first responders in Denton County? I can tell you that I've met them over in Denton County and also in Fort Worth too. They're tired, they're stressed, and they're underpaid. That is something as a county commissioner that I want to fix, is to make sure that we look at that budget and see where our tax dollars are, because that's one of the topics I want to talk about today is where are the tax dollars going? Because if your property tax, you notice that it went up. Have you seen any difference? Have you seen the roads being fixed, except for the ones where we got these major companies going to? Do we have our mental hospitals? And I'm just asking a question. Do we have these things? Have our major roads fixed? If we ever get a bad rainstorm, are the roads going to be able to, are they going to get reflooded again? Right? Now we have the problem over in our rural areas where they had to shut down hospitals because they cannot afford it, because the federal government is definitely not giving them in. Surprisingly, because we have a 30-year of the GOP holding the bag, and they're not taking care of the rural area that they said they love so much. So we definitely have to fix. And with us on here, we got a lot of work to do. Ernest, we definitely going to need your help out there when you become. We definitely need your help. Nick, we're gonna need to fix some of the things that's going to court. We got to hold people accountable and be transparent. That's exactly what the people want. They want to be transparent. They want us to be transparent. They want to know about the budget. They want to know, why do we have to go drive way over to our precinct when we get off of work and go through this traffic just to go to the polling areas. And I want to say, those of you to go early vote, thank you. Thank you. Please keep it going. We got to November the 3rd. Please keep it going. Make sure you get your friends and family to go register to vote. Go talk to your neighbors. Help us. Help the candidates. Talk to. Don't need to be talking about this. Are you happy where you're at? Someone just messaged me earlier. A lot of money going to the grocery store, and they only had 5 bags. I'm scared to go in, and I work for one of those companies and stuff, and I'm sitting up here like, oh, I look at the prices, and I know they just changed prices yesterday, and I'm like, oh, child, I don't know. You ain't gonna get that like so much. You might get a half a potato, but that's really what's going on. The people, they need changes, and they need changes now, not tomorrow, now, and they're afraid I just heard about someone, and I had to go to the doctor today myself. And I was sitting up there, and I don't want to go because my premium changed. I don't know how. And I'm not the only one that's feeling that way. We have several of our residents that are saying the same thing. They're putting off going to the doctor, getting the help that they need because even though they have insurance, hard to go because the premium went up. Out of pocket expense is ridiculous. Ernest, that's in your court. We need you to fix that, sir.
Yeah, there's no reason that we have the most expensive health care of any Western nation. We pay like 2 to 3 times what other countries do per person, and we deny so much care and coverage. It's ridiculous. There are people that are making a livelihood out of taking money out of the system, whether that's in the insurance industry or venture capitalists that buy up hospitals and then just milk all the money out of it and make it to where they can't give you care. There's things we need to do. We need to have some major changes. And the first, like, to me, I think Medicare for all might be a good solution, but I'm willing to talk with anybody about what they think the right answers are. But it seems to me that those same people would be charging us for air if they could. But medical care is something people need, and we just need to make it a reality. It makes no sense that people die because they couldn't afford the care they needed. People are going to die when they have to die, not just because they can't afford it. That's just wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And touching on the healthcare topic, by the way, Ernest, since we have other candidates who are going to be on the commissioner's court, I know the commissioner's court, I believe, funds a operation called Meals on Wheels, which I think Ernest is something that's close to your heart. Do you want to advocate? Do you want to campaign to our fellow soon-to-be county commissioners upon supporting Meals on Wheels and what Meals on Wheels is?
Sure. Well, Meals. So actually, it's SPAN is the official name, SPAN, and then like slash or also doing business as Meals on Wheels of Denton County, and also Senior Paws. It's like 3 organizations. SPAN is actually transit for people that need it. We have these special vehicles, and people can call up and arrange for a ride. And depending on your circumstances of your whether you're a veteran and other such things, those rides could be free or they could be low cost rides. And the funding for that came through the Denton County Commissioner's Court, and it was held up for a while as there were a lot of discussions on, is that the best way to do it or do we need to do it a different way? But the current court did quite a few audits of the books, and they came out with, yes, that's the best way. And I think we're actually in, maybe I shouldn't say, but we might be in discussions with another county on providing transit services for them as well. But Meals on Wheels is another part of that, and that's where we provide meals to seniors who are basically shut in. They don't have easy transportation to get to grocery stores or someone to help them fix the food or these kind of things. And so it's like daily meals are brought to their house and dropped off. And the Senior Paws part of that is companionship is very important for people who are shut in. And so these seniors that have animals, I mean, they can't really afford to feed those animals either. So that's a total different bucket of money. I think it's all donations at this point, where we provide dog or cat food for those seniors to help maintain their companions' livelihood as well as theirs. So I am a member of the board for this Denton County SPAN Meals on Wheels, and I'm excited to do that. We're having a big fundraiser coming up soon in March, and I wish I had that information right at the tip of my tongue. But if you go to the website, spantransit.org, I believe, they go to our events section, and you can see that there's a fundraiser coming up in late March that it's a big gala. It's a lot of fun, and excited to host it. coming up soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's definitely a program that the county commissioners court needs to continue to fund. Absolutely. And if I recall correctly, I don't know if I read this wrong. I believe the cost is not that expensive per se. What I mean by that is each meal I think is only a couple of dollars. Because correct me if I'm wrong, I believe some of the transportation for the Meals on Wheels is done by volunteers. Is that right? I don't think the
That's
commissioners court actually pays for the transit for that particular program. Is that right?
That's exactly right. I think the meal cost is, and I'm probably going to get it wrong, but it's around $8 to $10 per meal. And we do it two different ways. We have congregate meals where we bring meals to a location and seniors come and eat together with some community. And we have the in-home delivered meals, which is a different thing. And you're exactly right on those meals. It's a volunteer delivery, so that transportation is provided by the volunteer. And it's a good, also like a daily check on the person. Like, are you still here? How are you doing? I mean, it's not like come in for a long visit, but you get to at least deliver the meal to them and have a short conversation. So it's a good thing.
Absolutely. And I'll open up to all the candidates on here as well for all of us. I actually don't have an answer to the following question because I'm running to just to be the clerk. But what can each of us do in our campaigns to support healthcare, health in general, for the people who live in our districts and in our precincts?
I mean, if you're talking about our campaigns, I think first and foremost, we need to get elected. I mean, more than anything else, we have to be in office. We have to really assess where we're going. I think that we have two county-funded clinics in Denton County. I think one of them is in Louisville, one of them is in Denton. We need to really acknowledge the needs that we are having as the county continues to grow. And I think my precinct is one of the fastest growing precincts in the entire county. And so, really, I'm seeing a lot of folks are very dependent on Parkland, which is the hospital in Dallas County. And I was actually just there at their board meeting today to honor a friend of mine. And really brilliant folks that are doing God's work to make sure that people get the health care that they need. But there's going to come a point at which Dallas County is not going to be able to support some of that offset need that comes out of Denton County. And we can't just be going to private hospitals and asking them to foot the bill too. So really digging in, kind of doing a funding study, looking at what would be the most accessible way to provide healthcare. Again, particularly mental health care, but all basic care is going to be really, really important, especially as we're seeing games happening with our federal funding in healthcare. We need to make sure that we have some established groundwork so that our people are taken care of.
I totally agree with that. We definitely need to see what's going on before we jump in. Number one, though, we got to get it. We can do anything because I don't want the 4 or 5 people that's running against to be getting my plans. I'm not going to tell them I have a concept of a plan. I actually do have a plan. I have a workable plan. But seriously, y'all, we 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 got to make sure that we talk to the hospitals that we have here in Denton County. Now, I know medically improved because years ago they used to be called the death hospital. From what I was told, that if you go to this particular hospital, 9 times out of 10 not make it out of there. So we want to make sure we put plans in place and get with these hospitals, talk to them and see where they're at, and then make some changes. Nurses, but let me scratch that. I believe a lot of our issue has to do with pay. We have to look at the budget. We have to make sure that we are paying people a livable wage. That's where I see it. And that money fix all. I don't care what anybody say, fix all. But it's how we spend it is the problem. So if we're spending it on things that does not make sense, we definitely need to change that and make sure that our public safety folks that they get the help that they need, because like I said earlier, we're growing. We got over 1 million people in Denton County, and it's constantly growing. And I know over here we're grown. We have warehouses over here. We got all kind of things that's popping up in all our homes, and it's very good investment. But we want to make sure that we can for the future. So we got to have our infrastructure together to where we can handle what's coming our way. So that is my thought on there. We got to see where we at, what plans are in place, because right now, from what I gather from the county commissioner, what they reported on Tuesday, I think they have a concept of a budget, and I don't think they're ready happen in 2027. So we already know they're not ready for 2028. So we have to have a good, strong budget that works for everyone. So will there be cutbacks? It probably will be cutbacks on programs that's not even working, and we're constantly funding it. So what some people say, you throwing good money after bad. We need to change that and make sure that we budget correctly and make sure that we take care of the employees of Denton County, because they are working their butts off and they're getting underpaid for the things that they do. So we got to really look into
Yeah.
Nick.
Oh, yes, and I think you're cutting in a little bit there, but we mostly heard you. I think Nick, she was trying to pass off to you if you had any thoughts.
Oh, I've always got thoughts. It's the pie problem. Everybody understands that, we've got a whole pie and that we have to slice up the pie, and everybody gets their slice. But the problem is we've got a lot of leftover pie and a lot of people going hungry. We could fix these problems. We could create the county hospital. We could create the 24-hour homeless shelters. We could create the addiction clinics. We could create all of these things. And we don't even have to create all of them. We could partner with programs that already work, like SPAN, like Ernest Lineberger was talking about, the serving people with abilities and needs. These things help. These things are preventative care. The more these things work, the less we have to worry about ER visits, the less we have to worry about jail visits, the less we have to worry about our struggling infrastructure. Because these people are able to be actually taken care of, we could delay the amount of time that people would need to wait to get into assisted living facilities, but also we would be able to support them so that way they would be able to live longer without the assisted living facilities. We would be able to get people to go to their medical appointments and get food instead of going hungry and missing medical appointments and wind up in the ERs, or even worse, in the streets if they are unable to support themselves. There are so many things that we can do that we don't do. One of the main things that we are able to do as the commissioner's court and as the county clerk and as a very, very wonderful congressman is we could actually advocate for all of these things. We can ensure that these things, one, that they happen, two, that they're funded, and three, that people know about them. These are all of these things that we could tangibly do. We could do these through our campaigns. We could do these while we're in office. We could do these after we're elected and we're actually running these courts and we're making sure that, everybody else is on board with us. But the one thing that we cannot do is anything unilaterally, and we can't do anything until we're given the opportunity. And so what we have to do is we have to push each other and ourselves into these spaces. Kind of like Ernest, he's on the board of SPAN and everything. He's in that space. He's able to advocate for it. He's able to say, hey, listen, I'm actually running for Congress and I'm doing this, and this can actually help advocate for SPAN. And that helps the county, and that helps the state, and that helps the country, and so on and so forth. So, yes, absolutely. Just like everybody's talking about, we get our preventative care. We have our very limited scopes, but we still have our voice. And I think that that is our most powerful tool, is being able to get the word out about all of these wonderful opportunities that just aren't being taken advantage of.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Shifting gears a bit, because I think we only got about 10 minutes until we have to start closing up. But what do each of us want to do in our positions to support voter access? And what can we do to stand against voter suppression? For example, to our county candidates, do you want to talk about voting centers? To a congressional candidate, do you want to talk about the SAVE Act and what the potential dangers of that is? What are your thoughts on that? Anyone can speak up.
Yeah, so
Let the congressman.
absolutely, just to get mine out the way. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Nick, hit it. Go ahead. You had something in mind. You go.
Yes, absolutely. So I want to expand voting centers in Denton County. I want to make it to where colleges, libraries, and high schools are all voting centers, and they're all able to be staffed by librarians and students and teachers.
I know with voting, the problem is fear. Or fear and control. So I always start out with my Republican colleagues typically serve big business and the extremely wealthy. To get votes, they use culture wars or other tricks to try to get people to think that they're going to serve them somehow and get them to vote for them on a one issue voter or some sort of fear that if they don't vote for the Republicans, the Democrats are going to make everything terrible, which is totally not true, especially if you look at long-term history. But because of that, they're also trying to restrict voting so that it makes it harder for people who typically vote Democrat to vote. The SAVE Act wants you to have to prove that you're a citizen when you register and when you vote. Now, non-citizens voting has been proven multiple times to not be a major problem. That yes, there has been one or two small cases, but nothing near what it would take to swing any of the elections. So it's just a not issue, it's just a fear issue, and it's an us versus them issue where the Republicans are trying to show some sort of dominance. And we need to push back against that. I know I've promised when I'm in Congress, every single bill that I have anything to do with, whether I'm writing it, co-authoring it, or just preparing to vote on it, I'm going to check and see who does this serve. And part of that is, does this make it easier for my voters to have their voice heard, or does this make it harder for people to get what they need? You know, in statewide, it takes an act of the state legislature to put one of those propositions on the ballot. Citizens can't even like have a petition to say, hey, we'd like to have this on the ballot. You know, countywide, there's a lot that we can do. We rely so much on the civilian infrastructure like Serve Denton, and then like the city has Our Daily Bread. That's like the one single largest homeless shelter that we have, and it can serve maybe about 120 people. But I participated in the pit count for the last few years, the point in time count of homeless people. And the last one, not the one we did just this year, but the last one had over 600 homeless people counted in Denton County. And we have one shelter that can hold up to like 120 people, and that's run by the city. Does the county need to do something? You know, and does the federal government need to provide some funding to help with that? Of course, we need to have programs to help these people if they have a mental health issue or something else that's keeping them from holding a job, some sort of history, some anything. But there's a lot that can be done, and we definitely need to work together to do it. And the first part is getting into office to where we can make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Also, I want to give Kansas an opportunity to speak as well. I know that Nick Pappas has already talked about voting centers, but perhaps we can go into a little bit more detail about that, or anything else that the County Commissioners Court can do to help with voting access.
I mean, really making sure that there are clear and consistent notifications about when voting is going to start. It shouldn't take you 4 or 5 clicks to figure out what time you can vote. So just streamlining the website, streamlining the actual ballot. I don't know if you've ever, I mean, we've seen the ballot. The fact that these spaces are so massive that you have to sit there and fill it out forever. I'm not saying that it should be a little checkbox, but I think that there are ways in which you can streamline it so that people aren't waiting in line forever, and that people feel comfortable kind of voting all the way down the ballot without having to feel like it's a lot of extra strain on them. Just seeing some of those lines on election day, every little bit helps to make sure that it happens. Talking to actual election workers, making sure that they have the funding they need to have sufficient election workers, making sure that we have incentives for people to return. A lot of these laws are not easy to pick up, and trainings are relatively brief. We have a lot of smart people who put forth time in order to conduct these elections, but it's arguably one of the most important things a county can do. So we need to make sure that we professionalize it as much as we can feasibly do with the budget that we have.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. When you said it takes a while to fill in the bubbles with those little ballpoint pens, I just voted today, and so I definitely know like one after another after another. It takes me a while because my name was actually on the ballot, even though I don't have a primary, and same thing with everyone else who does not have a primary. But I still did my due diligence to go for every single one. And it's funny, when I was at the voting location today here in the colony, I heard someone ask for a Sharpie. And I thought to myself, like, I can understand why, because it takes a while with a ballpoint pen to fill in that bubble entirely solidly. Of course, I think it would be a bad idea because I think that if you did have a Sharpie, that ink could bleed through the paper to the other side. And the ballots, at least for me today, were double sided. There's 2 pages double sided. But
It would be
yeah,
spoiled.
Steph, I think we're coming up to time. Do we want to start closing out and having candidates maybe just again reintroduce themselves, give some closing remarks? I suppose we could probably start from the larger districts and then move downward. So the largest district would be Ernest for Congressional District 26. Ernest, closing remarks.
Okay, so hi, I am still Ernest Lineberger, and I am a Democratic candidate running for the U.S. House of Representatives for Texas Congressional District 26. And I am emphasizing that we are one community. We are diverse, but we're not divided. No matter what the other party tries to tell you, how much fear and hate they try to come up with, we are one community, diverse, but not divided. I am putting people's needs first. Like I said, any bill or anything that I look at, I'm going to say, who does this serve? If it serves the people and it serves the nation, it will get my vote. If it's some other nonsense to give extra tax breaks to bazillionaires, then no, that's not going to be something I'm going to support. There's a lot of people that have different opinions about things. I'm excited that the ballot has propositions to get people's input, but I just really want people to try to come out and vote early when it's so much easier. You can vote anywhere in the county, and the lines are not so bad. When I went to vote, almost every station for filling in the little boxes was taken, but there were a lot of people, but it was a steady stream. But come out now before Election Day so your voice can be heard. Thank you, Dale.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also, as a reminder to the audience, Ernest Lineberger does have a primary. He's in a primary right now. And so, then, of course, as mentioned, please vote early. If you cannot make it out to early voting, your next opportunity is going to be this coming Tuesday, the election day. So I think I said we're going to work from the largest districts down. So the next campaign would be Nick Papas. Do you want to tell us about your campaign, sir?
Yes, thank you very much. Again, I'm Nick Pappas, running for Denton County Judge. Denton County is one of the fastest growing counties in the country, and with that growth comes a choice. We can either keep reacting to the problems after they get expensive, or we can start planning for them before they happen. And also, please go vote. Don't just vote yourself. Also, talk to other people. Get them to vote. Bring them with you. Everybody gets to vote. Everybody gets to have a fun time. Make a lunch out of it. Whatever you got to do. Just make sure that you increase the turnout. Make sure that you increase the participation. Because if you don't vote, you don't get to complain. Thank you.
Absolutely. That was actually something I believe our local weatherman, Pete Delkus at WFAA, he said that almost line for line there. He said, "Go vote, and please, if you don't complain." But anyways, I guess I think I'm next in terms of the sizes of the districts. So that's how we're going to go about things. Hello, my name is Dale Frey. I'm running to be your Denton County Clerk. That's 2 positions that I hold. That's going to be the clerk of the county, which oversees a lot of our records, such as birth certificates, marriage certificates, death certificates, etc. And it's also to be the clerk of the Denton County Commissioners Court. So that is something I look very much forward to. I'm very passionate about the policies of the Denton County Commissioners Court. Of course, the clerk has no real power per se. They're kind of more of a secretary, if you will, to the court and to the county. But I'll talk more about my campaign and some of the issues I have with my current political opponent later on. Since I don't have a primary right now, I want to, of course, give more time to the other fellow candidates. And so, with that said, next we have Kansas Venezuela. Please tell us about your campaign and what you're running for. Oh, Kansas, I think you might be on mute. I'm not sure if you're.
Wow,
There you
such a
go.
rookie move. 6 years after we introduced Zoom, and I'm still on mute. Hi, Candace Valenzuela, running for county commissioner in precinct 2. And I think I need to remind folks that the county commissioners court is one of the most powerful legislative bodies in the state of Texas that everyone tends to sleep on. If you're thinking about your healthcare, if you're thinking about infrastructure, your roads, again, if you're thinking about access to the ballot box, if you're thinking about law enforcement, you are dealing with a county commissioners court. And so I am really, really grateful to have the opportunity to run for this position because the opportunities that helped me go from being homeless as a 3-year-old living in a kiddie pool outside of a gas station outside of a Texaco to being a White House appointee starts with local government. It started with strong public schools. It started with strong infrastructure. I actually received a housing voucher that had to go through both the federal and the county government in order to reach my family. And so when you think about the things that touch your lives, very, very closely, you have to look as close as possible to local government. And that county position, so many people, they don't vote on it. They go in there, they vote for president, they walk out, and they leave all of that power to have say in their communities on the table. So if I can leave you with anything at all, when you go into that voting booth, don't stop at the top. We have lots and lots of things to vote on. Luckily, we're in Denton County. Harris County is going to have something like 109 distinct elections. We're not going to be in that boat. So knowing that we don't have that much to vote on, please, please, please don't stop at the top, vote from top to bottom, and pick the folks that you know will best represent you.
Absolutely, absolutely. It is so important that we vote, and it's because there's a lot at stake. The stakes have never been higher. And again, to the audience, Stephanie is not primary in Kansas, Venezuela, but she is also running to be a county commissioner. So if you live in southwest Denton County, that would be Stephanie. Stephanie, please take us away.
Hello, everyone. Of course, my name is Stephanie for Denton County Commissioner, Precinct 4, and I need your help. If you open up your property tax bill and you look around and you see that your roads are not fixed, you can't find a mental hospital, we're having issues with budgets, it's taking forever for first responders because they're short staffed, then you might want to make sure that you continue on. Now, of course, we're in a primary and I don't have anyone running against me, but come November, after March 3rd, I will have people that'll be running that I'll be, and we don't know who that person will be. But I tell you one thing, we got to change what's going on in Denton County because Denton County deserves a commissioner that's going to listen, a commissioner that's going to make sure that's actually going to be available for the people. And they'll hearing on this campaign run. They want the roads fixed. There's no reason for us not to have these roads messed up the way they are. We got to fix the road. As your future county commissioner, that's one of the things that I'm going to be working on is to make sure that we have great infrastructure and take care of our first responders and make sure that Our votes matter. Whether you believe it or not, our vote what we're going through right now. We got to vote smart, and we got to make sure that we vote for people that's going to do the work and that put people first and not developers. That's what I'm running on. And I shout out to everyone that went out and took the time to go vote early. Appreciate everything that you do. Now, I have to be real with you. If your last name has changed and it does not match your birth certificate, if you're like me, you have got to get your passport. You have to make sure that you cover all the bases because we have over millions of people, millions of women who have changed their names, and we got to make sure that we are able to go out and go vote. Our votes matter. The Republican people, they're shaking in their boots right now because they know we're coming. And if Texas turn blue, so will the country. Whatever happens in Texas, it goes out. So our Texas and my focus is on Denton County to make sure we take care of Denton County and not the developers first.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for that, Stephanie. You're cutting in just well. We heard 98% of that. You're cutting out just a little bit. So I'll go ahead and close this out. Also, remind me next time. I got to talk more about this when it comes to the passport thing. The county clerk actually oversees the passport office here in Denton County, particularly for new passport issues, but not necessarily passport renewals. But we'll talk about that maybe next episode. I'll go ahead and close this out. I want to thank everyone here for running for office. I want to thank everyone here for putting your hat in the ring. It's really important. It's so important, I tell you, because cycle before last, I was so livid to find out that 3 out of 5 state house representatives in Denton County ran unopposed. 3 out of 5 ran unopposed. That means 3 out of 5 simply filed to run for office and then just won. Jared Patterson, for example, didn't even have a primary. So, we don't have democracy unless we have options on the ballot. And it's all of you who have decided to run for office to make that a possibility. So thank you for being part of the process. And with that said, also thank you for the audience for tuning in. This is a podcast called Let's Talk About It Stuff with Stephanie Draper. We have this podcast every single week at 7 p.m. on Wednesdays. This is recorded onto our YouTube channel. So check us out on YouTube. As well as our Facebook broadcast. With that said, well, hope to see you guys again in the future. Tune in for next week at 7 o'clock p.m. on Wednesday. With that said,